So we're back at it again, blockheads. We are going to see if we can't right the ship, or right the ships, or right the crafts that walk. So I think today the objective is going to be, let's get these Star Wars things regrouped and then find some of these Star Wars boxes and all these parts. Let's try to get them all grouped up to try to make more sense of this, because it is pretty chaotic right now. The only thing that we've grouped successfully thus far is our random base plates and stuff from Star Wars setups. So we need to kind of make not make a mess, make sense of this mess. So let's start with these couple things here in the front. So these are, of course, well, I shouldn't say of course, because you may not be familiar if you don't have a Lego store in your area. Ours is even not that close, but was within driving distance. So I probably got a couple of these. You used to be able to scoop as many different kind of pieces they had available, put them in one of the cups, and then they would charge you by the cup, so to speak. So there's a large one, and then there's also a smaller size. So because of the white pieces, this is probably stuff that we were using for the Hoth setup, but because it's spare parts, we're going to try working on putting spare parts together. So for the time being, let's go down to the bottom with spare parts until we get another spot set up. And then this one's got some weird stuff. So this is totally different colors. So I bet you likely at one point I did a couple of gifts for family. Now these are some kind of springtime colors, so I probably had reason to do that, unless it was for any kind of water or terrain or maybe jungle kind of stuff. Beyond that, I can't figure out why I would have picked color pieces like that. Now what's wild is I grew up with the basic colors of white, black, red, blue, yellow. There was no green, there was no brown. You know, everybody's spoiled these days, all the crazy colors they get. So we're going to run into some parts here. So this is actually part of the Slave 1 that we looked at from the instructions. So it is interesting. Boba Fett here is actually missing most of his ship, which is probably here somewhere. But from a part standpoint, he's partially completed. Let's put him down here. So we are going to start, moving things around a bit that we've already touched, but at least they're getting closer to being organized. So this was the Corporate Alliance tank droid. We'll get him facing outward there. Now, we have not brought this guy out yet. We couldn't get to him before. So this is one of the Episode 2 droids. We kind of looked at the instructions, but here's the one for the spider tank. And that is operational other than being dusty. So we got another bag here, so this is kind of convenient. So this is our original Snowspeeder. So Snowspeeder was intact. And it does have all the pieces, including the dude from the antenna, so it's good we can put another Ziploc bag piece there. How else do we want to do this? So, again, our special story guy has got to go somewhere on his own. You know what? Because he's mostly complete, let's put him on top of the instructions, because that's a special case, like with the other eBay purchase. It's way more special than the other one, but we'll get to that. So here's the mini AT-AT. He is complete, but we can put him with standing Star Wars stuff. Now we have an entanglement here. We've got an entanglement of Imperial Walker and the spider droid. So let's go with the light stuff first. So that way if something gets out of control, I don't have to either drop the phone or drop the Legos. So this probably is hopefully not a surprise that there's a second one of these, because I had been working on an Episode 2 setup. So we've got now 2 spider droids. We can put those next to each other. Then we have the other tank. Something just came loose. I hope that doesn't fall down the back. This was the other Corporate Alliance tank one. Yeah, the eyepiece there is a little loose. We'll rectify that later. But we can now put those 2 next to each other. So let's take care of this over here. Why is there a toothbrush? Well, I was using that for dusting, so we'll just put toothbrush there. Who knows how ancient that thing is. Our micro fighter, I guess, is out of place, but we'll put him with our mini walker. Seems next logical place for now. And then we have, so this is the newer Snowspeeder, and as mentioned when we were talking about our droid fighter, there's the cool stand I put on there. Now, this one might be incomplete. It looks like there might be some pieces missing. But as you can tell, this thing will now stand on its side even without that, because it supports it. Now, of course, it's missing some vertical lift. It's not supposed to sit on its side, but you can see it effectively sits at an angle there. So we can bring him down. We'll probably move him around later, especially since we're already getting pretty heavy of the episode 2 stuff. We want to try to even get some of that, grouped together. The Republic gunship looks like it's in pretty solid shape, other than the dust. Lots of cool stuff we'll be able to explore with this one. Man, this has got clone fighters and characters all over the place, so I'm looking forward to exploring that one. One of the greatest features they've done for some of these heavier sets is add this little lift handle. It's a little Technic piece, but it's retractable, and it makes it so much easier to lift these things. It supports the weight, so kudos to the developers in that era to do that for some of the more complicated sets, which got really, really heavy. So here we go, Imperial Walker. We have not touched this guy yet. And this is actually the walking one. So this, I believe, was the second one I ran across following the Mindstorm one. So you should be able to see this guy is not going to stand up very well. He's kind of at an angle because of the way the Technic pieces work in here to handle the walking. And because they're locked into place, you can't pose them. There's connectors to the motor within, and you can't turn those. It's basically locked in place to allow the motor to do that. And so this is not the most decorative one. Now, it's nice to finally have a walker, but you can see there's all the hollow spaces around it too, because it's got the motor within, and you can't have an aesthetic piece blocking off all of your motorized functionality. So it's kind of a pickle what to do about this one. So yeah, I think putting this guy down on the floor probably the best decision for the moment. And he is missing a couple side pieces. We'll eventually run across those, I'm sure. So for the time being, he will drop down. Has been demoted. So next becomes this pile. Oh, but there's something interesting here. Check this out. So there it is. There is our TIE fighter stand, our stormtrooper standing guard. You know what? Honestly, I gotta admit, I don't know if I have too many of these. This piece is fantastic. It's got a square base, but it's triangular. These things are fantastic for display pieces or, stands and stuff. And if I had a bunch of those in clear, it'd be pretty nice. So while we're messing with that, let's bring our TIE fighter up, get it upgraded, and put it back on its little stand there. Hopefully it'll still be balanced. So yeah, we're mixing and matching here a little bit, but we got the TIE fighter and the gunship, make a little space there. You know what? We can probably even move our gunship over a little bit. We got plenty of room there on the shelf. It's just going to catch on a couple things, but the wing can sit off the shelf and make us some more room here. We're going to need it. Okay, so of course we still got this pile of spare parts. We need to do something with this. So let's put this stuff out of the way. You know what? I guess this is all going to go right here on top of the clear one. We'll know it's there. We got this handful of pieces that we've dealt with. So we also found this little guy here. Let me get you some light. So this was a little popper mechanism from the blaster things. So that was what fell on the floor. We're going to make sure that stays there. I believe, speaking of which, this is probably our missing piece to the motorized walker. We'll deal with that later. All right, so we got some more bags here. So this will help get things a little more organized. So let me start with this column here for a second. So this is, again, was the luxury of being able to go to a Lego store. These are all the bendy pieces, so let's see if I can take one of these off here. This is a fantastic design that I didn't have as a child. So these are the ones that lock into place, and I use these in combination with those clear pieces in order to build the stands. So you can even reconnect them and invert them, so if you want to put things in a different angle, you can. So it shows you how many I got, so I filled up one of those cups with a bunch of these, it looks like, and so therefore I have a surplus if needed for stands. The question is, do I have nearly as many clear pieces to go with them for stands? So as far as our spare parts stuff go, well, spare parts is going up here in terms of display stuff, so that's where those are going to go for now. So let's start looking at our Ziploc bags here. Oh look, there's the rest of the Slave 1, so I don't know how the other piece of Boba Fett came out, but looks like the Slave 1 has been identified and located. And then, interesting, so here is the droid carrier. You know what's not in here, inside the droid carrier bag? Droids. So the thing is, I bet you, I say that a lot, I'm not actually putting any money on the line here, but it's highly likely that I extracted the battle droids for the sake of setup, and I didn't really feel motivated to put the droid carrier on a stand, so it is by itself, but still in a bag, intact, mostly. So here we go. I did not apparently feel compelled to get an Endor scene up and running, so I have our original speeder bikes, There's Luke. There's the tree. So if I didn't feel motivated to do that, that is likely why they went to the bag. So they're at least together. We got some random white pieces here, so that's probably for a reason, but it's just sitting on top of the bag. Oh, well, here we go. So here's our Ewoks. So there was enough to put a small semblance of Ewok thing together. This has a clear stand in it. Now, I don't know if that came with it or if that's something I added, but there is our other speeder bike and another stormtrooper. So I think, man, this would have been fantastic to have another one of these for the speeder bike, unless they've made newer ones since. But I definitely think that the speeder bike might be the better one of the combo. So this is interesting. So these are platforms. These have been around for quite a while. I know that some of these start showing up in the pirate ships and some of the Imtrons. So I think these may be here because maybe I thought they'd be advantageous for a platform for display. But if not, who knows? We'll figure out what to do with that later. And intriguing, ton of brown pieces. So these look like they have to go to something in particular because there's some serious angled pieces here. I don't know. I can't imagine them being from the Dooku battle because some of these are pretty big and most of those would have been the walls. So I honestly have no explanation for these. This is just a random bag of brown parts. So for display reasons, but I don't know what it came from. I don't know if it was a loose bunch of random pieces or something else. So we're going to have to hopefully find the reason for that. Wow, this is real interesting. So actually, you know what this is? This is incredible. It's not probably not even Lego. I don't know where. I probably saw this at some minifig shop. This looks like an ODST designed Lego figure, except there were no Halo sets. So this looks like he's got a sniper, a spike grenade, and an assault rifle of some kind. So I know that there are custom minifigures that are not Lego, and this is surprising that, well, it's not surprising that I have it because I like ODST so much, but surprising that it's kind of in my possession with my Legos because I completely forgot I had it, and it's buried amidst the display stuff here, so I'm not even sure what to do with this guy. We're going to put him with the spare parts because we're going to have to take a look at him later. All right, so here's the massive box of parts. So we've got a beige base plate here in a sea of white pieces. So I think what we'll have to do here, let's separate the beige one. Beige one can go on top of the other beige one, the sand stuff. And let's take a look here. Also, so let's move these platforms. We'll put them up there with other display-related things. So let me get you a little bit more light here. Let's make sure there's not anything more interesting. So got some wall pieces. There's something that could have been for making a hill, for a snow hill. Now, I'm curious. I don't know what that could have come from, if it's from an existing set. I don't know if all this is from Frankenstein parts. Like this. I honestly, I don't even know what these are from. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot in here that might be from actual pieces, but some of it is not necessarily. Aha! So look, here's another one of these similar stands that we just had on TIE Fighter. So again, I was thinking this would be great for a stand, but with it being black instead of clear or white, it kind of still stands out like a sore thumb. Now, here's a couple more of the bendy pieces. So some of these bendy pieces in here indicate that I was trying to build more display stands. Yep, so here's more of these bendy things are all over the place here. So we've got a box full of white parts that are random. So again, these were intended for a Hoth scene. But the best thing we can do at the moment is put them with other random Hoth scene stuff. So we're going to take our droid ship here. We're going to finally get him in a proper spot. We're going to put him with our other flying Star Wars units down here. And then we can now take this. Now, unfortunately, this box has a paper box lid, and it's got a broken edge to it. So we're going to bring down this wall so that's not uneven, and we'll tip over our Stormship Trooper so hopefully he doesn't get crushed, and then we're going to set this on top of them. And there's still some other guys that are kind of non-compliant there. All right, so now we got beige stuff, Dooku stuff, Hoth stuff, and now we got another open space, and this space down here is looking a little more organized. But we're not done. We got this shelf down here. Well, actually, we're not touching that box yet. We're going to come down to this one. So here we go. This is an example of the smaller cup, and there is a ton of curved, smooth pieces. These would have been fantastic for like low rolling snow drifts. So highly likely that another thing I bought at the tail end of collecting, because the fact the tape is still on this from the Lego store meant I never got around to working on that. So we can, of course, put that up here. And then let's take a look at this shelf. So here is our TIE Fighter from the Y-Wing set. This should hopefully have Vader in there. We'll inspect a little more closely later. But let's get our droid fighter moved back. We can now put that in front of this one for now. This one did not come with a really cool stand. You're on your own there. And then we've got, hey, one of these is actually empty. Let's move that down to the bottom because we don't need it. So as far as our flying vehicles go, we now have the Imperial shuttle with a random dude that is not Palpatine and not Han Solo. So apparently it was not the stolen shuttle. Well, it likely wouldn't have been since they put Palpatine in the set. But this was kind of interesting. They used some of the angles pretty good on this one to allow this thing to go up and down. And, of course, the wings do, which doing this with one hand is probably going to cause me to break something off rather than actually angle it correctly. All right, so I think the last thing from this shelf that we need to get removed, or not removed, but relocated, is our ATTE. So this guy also has the benefits of this cool thing I talked about from the gunship. So this has another one of these cool lift handles. This one's a little bit more in a T-shape. So check that out. You can lift it up by that, and it lifts up perfectly. It's balanced. It's got all these swivel things on it, and we'll definitely get into more of these later. So right now, starting to look a lot better with organization. So we got flying vehicles, an ATTE, and then we've got spider droids, snow speeder, tank droids, and then bags of things partially assembled. And that's looking a lot better. So I think we're about done there. That's been a productive set. So we'll get into it some more later.